Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Astrology Today. My name is Mel Rose, and I'm here to share your daily aspects. Today is Sunday, March 13, 2022, and the Sun is in Pisces today with Jupiter and Neptune and Mercury. And as we enter the final week of the Sun's transit here, the distractions of inspiration, creative flow, and our desire to take a break from all the work we've been doing may intensify. While our inspired flow has expanded, so has our personal curiosity and desire for self-expression. We're less direct in our communications right now and more heartfelt in our interactions with others. The moon in Cancer makes ingress to Leo this afternoon, and it represents a shift in the inner life from a more emotional vibe that retreats to the home space to a bright, joyous outlook that again desires to be expressed. The waxing gibbous nature of this moon invites us to find that expression in acting to meet our goals. Take action at this time. We will have a full moon coming up on Friday in Virgo, and that'll be the time to celebrate the culmination or even the partial culmination of the goals we have set for ourselves. And I'm going to go ahead and get right into the aspects. I want to remind you there is a legend on the side. The legend has most of the symbols that you'll see on the page today. So if you need a name or a word to go with the symbol, they're all right there. Otherwise, I'm going to discuss it as we go through. And I've divided the page into two columns, one for each of our luminaries. The Sun sheds light on our outer lives. That has to do with who we are out in the world, how we interface with the public, especially in our work space, the social space, and the civic space. And I address the Sun's aspects on this side and all the other planets' aspects as well, because they have more to do with how we interact with the rest of the world, and they also take longer than these moon side aspects. The moon reflects light or sheds light on the inner life, and the moon does reflect the sun's light. The moon sheds light on the inner life, and that has more to do with how it feels to be in our bodies, our hearts and our minds, our relationship with ourselves and the people that are at home with us. And those things we think, feel, know, and intuit are more impacted by these brief transits and aspects that the moon makes. So that's our inner life. And today we start on the sun side of the page. Central Standard Time, friends, at 6:43 in the morning. The sun makes a conjunct with Neptune. So we saw something like this last week. You know, the sun, Jupiter, and Neptune, and now Mercury have all been hanging out in Pisces today. It's kind of crowded. It's like a party in Pisces right now. So the sun in Pisces is conjunct now with Neptune in Pisces. And last week it made a conjunct with Jupiter that really gave us this boost of good fortune and ability to see how our lives can expand. This is more of a boost in our attention to our connection to spirit and our connection to the other human beings around us. Not just that we keep at home with us, but those people in our neighborhoods, our communities, our friends and family groups. So there's that connection, and then there's the connection to spirit, however you like to describe that which you cannot necessarily explain, but we feel a connection to something greater, bigger, and more complex than we are, that probably has an impact on how we live our lives. So the sun's spotlight is on that. Our attention is going to be turned that way, and in a public way, we might be put in a position to, express how we feel about people, humanity, connection, spirit, or even if we're not put in a position to express that, we might find some public expression of it. So Sun conjunct Neptune. Conjunct is an amplifying energy. It's neither good nor bad. It neither goes positive nor negative. It kind of just depends on how you take those energies. This is a time of increased sensitivity, increased intuition, and increased empathy. So sensitivity, that can be everything from emotional sensitivity, but really it has to do with alertness, to being able to see what is really going on around us, to really be able to intuitively be in the know about the vibe in the area we're in. Our intuition is up, so again, that's, we are more in touch with what is not on view, even though it's the sun conjunct. It sort of puts things on view that are not normally like behind the veil. And then we also have increased empathy at this time because it's about our connection with spirit and our connection with humanity. So we can really sort of feel what other people are going through. We can put ourselves in their shoes. And that's a really good time, for making connections and for growing our bonds with others, for sure. And then also on the sun side of the page, we have a couple of ongoing aspects. Jupiter sextile Uranus and Venus conjunct Mars. They started about the same time, around the middle of February, and they will be with us at least through spring equinox. After spring equinox, their effects will not be as intense as they go into a sort of a post aspect sort of shadow phase, but because they're long-lasting aspects, they kind of cast big shadows. Jupiter sextile Uranus. This is our expansive, our sense of expansion, our sense of growing, our understanding of what can be for ourselves, what we can have for ourselves and be for ourselves in our lives, in a very cooperative, positive vibration with this sort of instinctual or intuitive urge to make shifts and changes. Okay, so Uranus brings about little shakeups, things that we did not expect, that open doors for us and show us shifts and changes we can make to improve our situation for ourselves if we want to. So make changes for the better when you see that opportunity, when you come to the realization that there's a change you can make for the better. Go for it, make those changes for the better, and they'll bring about good fortune for you at this time. And then this is really, to me, very intimately connected with the Venus conjunct Mars. So Venus is our planet for receptivity. And I always say love and money because it's about that stuff that we like, love, and can't get enough of, right? We want all the attention and affection. We want the goods and services. We want the cash to spend on the things that we both need and desire. So Venus is the planet that has that pulling power. It is about our attractiveness and our ability to call in the things that we need and desire. And then Mars is more of an assertive and action-oriented vibration. So Mars is, it's about how you pursue what you desire. So if you can't attract it, you might go after it, right? If I can't just, wish I had bread in my house, I might have to go out to the store and get it, right? So Venus, receptivity, Mars, assertiveness. It's sort of like we know what we want and we know how to go get it. And this conjunct energy is, again, an amplification of both energies. So we are more attractive than usual, and we are also more active and available to pursue what we desire at this time. And it also represents partnership because Venus and Mars are sort of the divine couple from the astrological perspective. They're the two planets that are the closest to us. Venus again relates to that receptive principle and Mars relates to that assertive principle. We both have Venus and Mars in our own charts. And I mean, we all have Venus and Mars in our own charts. And they represent relationships when they're put together like this. So these partnership goals are really under heightened emphasis right now with this conjunct. So by now, you know who your partners are. You have these partnership goals. You know what you're trying to get out of the partnerships you have, and that's work, love, and life, guys, that can be your romantic partnership, obviously, but it's also your workplace partnership, and it also has to do with your friends and family, your communities, especially since these are both now in Aquarius, and Aquarius brings us out into the community and asks us to network and find allies and not just socialize, but work for the creation of a better life for everybody, right? We want to be the rising tide that lifts all boats. And so these partnership goals, we're looking at how they interface with the community, how our workplace partnerships interface with the community that they affect, how our personal, like our domestic partnerships, interface with the rest of the community, with the neighborhood, with our family groups, and with our friend groups, okay? Remember your partnership goals, though. Remain focused, remain dedicated to the goals you've set with your partners. Celebrate your successes at this time, and also be aware of the changes that are coming up, because when we're working, we are going through changes. Work is transformative. Work brings us to new understandings. It brings us to sort of higher knowledge of ourselves and our capabilities. And, it also, and, when you have a success, then that's something new about you, right? So be aware of those changes as they're coming up, understand that everything goes through cycles, okay? So it's okay to be at the bottom of the cycle or at the top of the cycle or just at the beginning or toward the ending. And wherever you are, it's still important just to remain dedicated to those goals and to be aware that the changes are always coming, okay? And then on the moon side of the page today at 10:44 a.m., we have a void of course moon going opposite to Pluto. And, moon and Pluto, this is your inner life. It's how you feel about yourself in your body, heart, and mind, and in your home space. And then Pluto is about transformative energy, and it really can bring us within our emotions, within our intuitive process. We kind of tend to take a deep dive on the inside, or on the inside of our very personal partnerships, right? So the opposition here it represents a potential for there to be conflict. So what usually this can bring up is like some intense feelings, some intense emotions, perhaps some intense discoveries, how do I want to say, realizations or observations that we did not have a grasp on before. And with that opposition in effect, with that potential for conflict, that means there might be some drama. But look at it. It's not just a conflict. It is an opportunity to find balance. Okay, so we're smart people and we're feeling people. We have good intuitions. We have strong intuitive flow at this time. So when those intense feelings come in and you start to have the negative feelings about it, that is the time to say, wait a minute, what can I do to balance this out? What can I do to soothe my soul at this time while I'm struggling with this new realization? Or if it's about a conflict with somebody that you're close to, like what can I do to bring to sort of cut some of the bitterness of these feelings between us? Salt usually cuts bitterness in food. FYI, not adding sugar, but adding a little bit of salt. Moon Ingress Leo, that happens at 2:31 p.m. So we have 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, about a 4-hour, a little bit less than a 4-hour void of course period of time here. And it's beginning with this moon aspect with Pluto. So while this might bring about some intense feelings and possible drama, it also is putting us sort of in a mood to reflect, right? So void of course time is the time to spend in reflection if you have the time and space to do that. This is the time to be doing your journaling and catching up on your tarot, asking questions of spirit, praying about things, whatever it is that you do to have a conversation with yourself and to feel connected with spirit so that you can sort of work out the troubles in your heart. This is the time to be doing that. And then at 2:31, the moon makes ingress to Leo. And this, like I said, is a shift from like being internal and emotional to more external and ready to shine and glow for people, right? Leo is ruled by the sun, so it's just like, let me shine my light and you can appreciate it. So moon in Leo, you know, we really feel this energy like we can show up as the best possible version of ourselves. And that's probably because we spent some time in Cancer, you know, retreating and taking very good care of ourselves. So then when you emerge from your retreat, your healing retreat, you are feeling much better and you're feeling much more like you can interact with the world and really have something to contribute. So that's a nice vibe. This is a 2-hour aspect. This is a 2.5 days transit. Excuse me. This one is about 24 hours. And these will be through the middle of March, through the 20th of this month. Coming up tomorrow, Neptune will make its aphelion. So just like last week when the sun made a conjunct with Jupiter and then Jupiter reached its aphelion, Neptune is doing the same thing. Aphelion is the farthest distance that a planet can be from the sun in its elliptical orbit around the sun. So while the spotlight is shown on those Neptune themes of creativity, of inspiration, intuitive flow, also Neptune is far away, so it's like the flow is spotlighted, but it is not as abundant as it usually is. It is a little attenuated, or it is a little bit delayed. It might be a little harder to do the intuitive work just than usual, not impossible. We're not saying there's no intuitive flow there. We're just saying you might have to really be open to receiving that intuitive flow if you're really trying to make contact with yourself or with spirit. And then Friday, the full moon in Virgo will give us a chance to celebrate what we've accomplished, what we've created, what partial or full culmination of our goals we have come to. And then next Sunday, I want to point out that the sun is going to make ingress to Aries. So Sunday to Sunday, we've got one more week of the sun's transit through Pisces and really discussing abundantly these themes of expanded inspirational flow and expanded sort of creativity in our thoughts, plans, and communications. So that is it for the aspects today. Thank you so much for being here with me. If you're still with me at this time, please go ahead and like my video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, click the notifications bell. I post every day and I wouldn't want you to miss a thing. Also, if this resonated for you, if it makes you think of somebody that might enjoy it or that it might resonate for, please share it with a friend. I appreciate it when you guys share with your friends. And also, if you have any thoughts that come up while you're looking at this, any observations, or any questions, please go ahead and put them in the comments section below. I will catch your comment and I will see it and respond to it. At this point, I'm going to shift to talking some tarot. Okay, so first we're going to talk about the tarot card on the side of the page, and then I will throw a tarot card for just the theme of today. So the tarot card on the side of the page is the Ten of Cups. It represents the sun's third 10 days of its transit through Pisces. So we're in that last 7 to 8 days right now, the sun's transit through Pisces. These Pisces themes are getting a little more how do I say, they're getting a little more thick. We're feeling that creativity, that rest and play, that intuitive flow a little more strongly. We're a little more distracted from the work and wanting to create new things. And that's beautiful. Ten of Cups is a water element. Pisces is a water element. That's how we get that. And the Ten of Cups is really an indicator of like deep happiness and fulfillment, joy. Okay, this says sort of, we put a lot of emotional investment and intuitive and creative, inspired investment into what we wanted to create for ourselves in terms of our personal lives. And we have achieved what we set out to create, and our creation is going well for us. So you see sort of a happy looking couple here, and a couple of kids playing by the side, and a little piece of land with some fresh water on it, and a house and a rainbow. So, these people have worked to create something for themselves that is their own and representative of who they are. And this creative representation is working well for them. It feels good to them. And so they celebrate it by appreciating the beauty that comes along with, it's like a bonus beauty that comes along with having done all that creative work. So that's a really beautiful vibe, and I appreciate it. And now I'm going to go ahead and throw a card, but first I'm going to mix these cards up a little bit more while I remind myself and the cards that the sun is in Pisces a little while longer. Neptune is in Pisces longer than that, and so is Jupiter. Those two will linger in Pisces after the sun has left. Mercury is in Pisces, and it will linger in Pisces a little while longer after the sun has left too, but it will leave Pisces and catch up to us in Aries before Aries is out. And the moon, I'm just going to throw these cards around. The moon is in Cancer, making ingress to Leo today, so that's going to be a good opportunity for us to shine and be loving and golden for the people that we love. That waxing gibbous moon invites us to take action toward the culmination of our goals. Sun conjunct Neptune today, increased sensitivity, increased intuition, increased empathy for others. Notice it and celebrate it, and it might give you a good opportunity to find a change for the better that you can make. And changes for the better at this time are bringing good fortune. Venus conjunct Mars, reflect on your partnership goals, remain dedicated to the goals you set with your close partners, remain dedicated, celebrate your successes, and also be aware that the changes are always coming up. So it's good to just look forward in the future a little bit and say, yep, that change is coming up. I'm going to be ready for it, okay? And then on the moon side of the page, we've got that moon opposite Pluto, so that can bring about some intense feelings. Remember, increased sensitivity, intuition, and empathy. So we've got some intense feelings already on the page today. And on the inner life side, we might have a little bit of drama. We might have a little bit of intensity that we have to work on. It's also a great time, though, to turn within and do your reflection practices. Your intuitive or creative practices might help you come to a balance point in that sense of conflict. And then again, the moon moves into Leo. We can show up as the best possible version of ourselves because we spent some time in Cancer doing the healing and nurturing work. And with all of that said, I'm going to go ahead and turn this card. Ooh, we got the star. Guys, I love the star, and I know I've pulled this probably a couple of times now, but the star really represents new hope, fresh inspiration, and also fresh learning, and so that we can create something beautiful and new. In the context of the tarot, the star comes after the Tower card, and the Tower represents sort of a catastrophe, like things falling apart, something that we took too much pride in and worked for a long time on, but we didn't make it strong enough to last. So it fell, it crumbled, and the star is sort of like picking up the pieces afterward, getting back in touch with our intuitive flow, right? This sun conjunct Neptune is very much a star card, getting in touch with your intuitive flow, but also keeping your feet on the ground and having a practical purpose for the creations that you're working to make, for that expanded intuition and expanded creation. understand that there can still be a practical purpose for doing it. And you know, when we engage ourselves emotionally and intuitively in the practical purposes for our creations, then you know, we have great outcomes for ourselves and our loved ones, and we have something to celebrate. So that's the star card. It is also very water element to me, and it really just encourages us to reflect on where we've been and to think about what we'd like to create anew as we're going through these changes. What changes can we make for the better so that the next thing we build can be strong and built to last? And I think that's all I have to say about that today, friends. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you all for being here every day. My name is Mel Rose, and I will see you all back here tomorrow for more daily aspects.